Hey folks, I'm Dave Isaacs, and today I want to look at one of the great classic intros in the blues repertoire. That is B.B King's The Thrill Is Gone, and this is from the studio version, the Completely Well album. I am not playing this with a backing track, but you can follow along with the tab that is linked in the description below. We are in the key of B minor, and for the most part, I think B.B is working primarily in the 7th position with a couple of moves up here to the 10th. When you're trying to figure out where somebody played something, the fluidity of the fingering makes a big difference. So for example, this first lick. When I first sat down to figure it out, I was doing this. And the fingering just didn't make any sense. But this familiar 7th position, little vibrato here. Now, I'm not going deep into the specifics of B.B. King's style. I'm just making some observations. If you picture B.B. King, you probably imagine this sort of rotating vibrato. Except that on the first string like this, you don't have a whole lot of room to move this way. So I'm using more arm vibrato here in the sense that I'm holding the arm basically straight and just using the entire arm, moving up and down, moving the string. Now watch this. 7, 10, 7, 10, 9 bend, 7, 9, 9. So I want to talk about this. A quarter tone bend, just a little, just enough to move the needle. We're not trying to really change the pitch, just to make the note rise a little. Down to 7. I'm using the pinky here because that's what's comfortable for me, and also because I want my ring finger to be able to land here on fret 9, backed up by my middle finger, and play this bend. Keeping in mind that to play the bend, I need to come, in this case, from under the string, and that the use of my whole arm allows me to move the string this way. So if you look back at my elbow, this whole mechanism is moving when I bend. Be careful that you don't let this bend back down, because that's not the sound we want. And we're actually going to cut it at the top of the bend, and I'm doing that with my picking hand by just catching the string again. Notice this little lick. Slow bend, sustain it, and then the index finger comes in, bar, and flattens. Notice how sometimes he pops these notes, makes them real short. Also, if you have a very light attack, I think it gets you closer to his tone, because if you listen to that studio recording, there is so much variation in his attack, how much he digs in. Some notes really sing out, and some are almost whispered. Now, answering phrase. And by the way, I should mention that that is one, to my ear, one long phrase divided up into a set of call and response subphrases. 1, answered by, which is answered by, which is answered by, which is answered by. Now, staying in the 7th position, I'm just reaching ring finger up to the 10th fret, so this is an extension. This is not a stretch. If you find that this is hard to reach, then you want to take a look at the angle of your hand and note that if I am parallel to the string, I have a very hard time getting this ring finger up to the 10th fret. But if I am rotated so my hand is oblique to the neck, the line of my knuckles is going on this diagonal while the strings are going this way, I now can simply extend the finger. Just uncurl the knuckle, and you can reach just as far with ring as you can with pinky when you do that. So in any case, I'm extending with ring, backing it up with middle, and hold step bend. And then, this is neat, so this is 7/10, quarter tone bend, tiny little bend on 11, 12, and then half step and back to 12. So you're gradually climbing. If you're thinking in terms of pairs with the call and response, pair, pair, pair. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. You see how you get a lot of the nuance of that B.B. King sound by just being very aware of the picking hand. Very, very light attack. Be very dynamic. And when you want to dig in, see, that note's even a little thick, so that sounds a lot more like the tone of the first note of that solo. Now, this last segment, I go back and forth on whether or not to play that note here or here on 12. But what I think sounds good is this. Index, then glide up, hammer, short, then up here, so watch this lick slowly. And then, so this one is hit it, bend it, and then cut it as you start to let it down. And then hammer on 10, 12, small bend, space. So the last bit is two, three. Now, I'll play through the whole thing, again slowed down. Grab the tab in the description if you haven't already. We're just playing a 12-bar blues in B minor, meaning 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 3. 3 B minor, 4, 2, 3 E minor. 2 bars, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, and back. G, F sharp, and B minor. Here's the intro. 2, 3, 4, 5. It's not difficult to play as far as reaching the notes, but the subtleties, I have to tell you, it's taken me quite a while to really absorb those details of the dynamics. When is he digging in more? When is he backing off? How intense is the vibrato? How big is the bend? There is a lot to keep track of here, which is why I love this so much. And I will continue to encourage you to look at the intros to classic blues songs, because the intro solos are, number one, generally shorter, and number two, generally a little more concise and tuneful and hooky, because you've generally just got the one chorus. And so you learn a lot, I think, about the best of somebody's phrasing from a melodic perspective by looking at those intros, and it's easier to process. So this is the latest in a series of these, and I hope you enjoy this lesson. Thank you so much for your support. We're coming up on 20,000 subscribers on this channel, which is just thrilling. I mean, it's about 10 years worth of work to get here, but I really, really appreciate it. And this is, of course, encouraging me to do more and more. So keep following, keep commenting, liking, sharing, everything that you do to support what I do. I appreciate it very much, and I'll see you next time.